It's September. You walk into your room and a giant pile of heavy textbooks lands on your desk. With the English Matura exam getting closer, that familiar weight of stress starts to settle in. You buy a stack of new notebooks and promise to study for 4 hours every single night until June. This usually leads to a crash. By the second week, the sheer scale of that promise becomes exhausting, and the motivation disappears completely by day 10. To avoid that burnout, we can use a psychological shortcut called temporal landmarks. Our brains don't see time as one long line. We naturally divide time into chapters using dates like New Year's Day or the first week of school. Crossing into September triggers the fresh start effect. This landmark allows your brain to categorize last year's struggles, like a bad grade or a missed assignment, as part of a past version of you, rather than a permanent label you have to carry today. This psychological reset means your current gradebook begins as a blank page. You have the opportunity to define your progress based on what you do next, rather than what happened last semester. It's easy to feel discouraged when a classmate seems to speak English perfectly without even trying. You might feel like they have a natural gift that you simply don't possess. But we can look at this through the lens of a simple graph. Where you start on day 1 is your baseline. The angle of your progress over time is your slope, or your rate of growth. If a student starts with a high baseline but stops putting in effort, their line stays flat. However, if you start lower but practice consistently, your slope remains steep. Over time, a steady rate of growth always overtakes a high starting point that isn't moving. Maintaining that upward slope is easier if you follow the 1% rule. Author James Clear explains that getting just 1% better every day adds up significantly over a year. In your daily life, this means choosing habits that are too small to fail at, like switching your phone to English or listening to a quick podcast while you get ready for school. When facing a bigger task like an essay, use the 2-minute rule to break through procrastination. Commit to writing just the first sentence. Once you start that physical action, the mental resistance usually disappears. High scores on the Matura are the result of these tiny, compounding choices. By focusing on your daily trajectory, you are building the momentum needed to reach your goal by the end of the year. Even with a good study plan, speaking up in class can still feel paralyzing. You might stay silent, worried that a single grammar mistake will make you look foolish. This fear is driven by the spotlight effect. It's the psychological illusion that everyone in the room is staring at your mouth, counting your errors, and judging your accent. In reality, your classmates aren't analyzing your grammar. They are usually sitting in their own seats, focused on their own hair, their own phones, or what they are going to say when it's their turn to speak. When you do struggle to form a sentence, you've entered what educators call the learning pit. That uncomfortable feeling of confusion is the physical sensation of your brain building new neural connections. When you have to stop and think about how to use the present perfect tense, you are actively strengthening the pathways needed for mastery. Every time you climb out of confusion by asking a question or trying a new word, you are witnessing your own brain in the process of learning. Those moments of struggle are the markers of actual progress. We can apply this 1% mindset to your exam preparation. When you watch English media, keep the subtitles in English. This forces your brain to match the sounds you hear with the words on the screen, improving your listening skills without much extra effort. For the writing section, prioritize clarity. Matura examiners reward clear, simple sentences and the correct use of linking words like however or in addition. You don't need complex, risky grammar to get a high score. To practice speaking without the pressure of an audience, try the rubber duck technique. Put a small object on your desk and spend 2 minutes describing a picture to it in English. This trains your mouth muscles to produce the sounds of the language. It builds your speed and fluency in a private, low-stakes environment. Ultimately, language serves as a bridge between human beings. While the exam has rules, the goal is to build the courage to communicate and be understood. This school year, lean into the fresh start, trust the power of your daily trajectory, and remember that confusion is just part of the learning process. To get your momentum started right now, I have a 7-day challenge for you. Choose just one tiny English habit that takes less than 3 minutes a day. It could be listening to a song or writing 2 sentences in a journal. Do this one thing every day for the next week. Commit to it publicly by leaving a comment below telling us what your 3-minute habit will be. The psychological landmark of a new year has given you a clean slate. Your progress from this point forward is entirely within your control.